Hi, I'm Josh Haley, your host, and we welcome you back to Inside PrimeTime. As we mentioned last week, PrimeTime successfully completed the Just Wanna Hoop series on September 27th, and with that, we crowned two grand champions, one in Houston and one in Dallas, who both took home free tournaments for an entire year. Today, we'll get to interview Coach Chad Johnson with the 10th Grade Boys Lousiana Cardinals, who clinched the Dallas Grand Champion title, and Coach Mike Snyder with the 9th Grade Boys PowerHouse Hoops Caldwell, who took home the Houston Grand Championship title. First, let's talk with Lousiana Cardinals head coach Chad Johnson. Congratulations to you and your team and your entire staff on winning the Just Wanna Hoop Series Grand Champion title out of Dallas. What an accomplishment. How thrilled are you and your team? Has it even set in yet, even though we're over a week removed?
It started settling in about every day now that it's settling in now, you know.
What was some of the messaging that you had to your team going into that final weekend? Because things were, fairly competitive going in. Were you guys talking about it at all, or were you just trying to stay focused on the opponents ahead?
Well, we always stay focused on our opponents, but it was something that we was talking about. They just kept keeping me updated, the players, the parents, once they figured out what was going on. The last tournament, I just told the guys finish.
What does it mean to you to be crowned as the first ever Primetime Sports Just Wanna Hoop Series Grand Champion?
Oh, it's a huge honor. For our team and our program, and we just so grateful for y'all.
Because of with the Grand Champion, of course, comes free tournaments for an entire year. Does that allow you and your team to be able to go and do some things that maybe you wouldn't do before, or reallocate some things in different areas?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It allows us a lot of flexibility now. To know like, hey, we ain't got to pay for the tournaments. We got free tournaments for a year, so we gonna take advantage of that.
I know that throughout the course of 8 weeks, in this game, it can get physical sometimes. There's bound to be some bumps and bruises along the way. Did you guys have to endure many injuries throughout the course of this Just Wanna Hoop series?
Yeah, one of my players, he had a ankle problem, and we took care of that after the tournament. That whole week, we just iced it, and I told him a lot of things to do, soak it, and nothing too major though, just like a little turn ankle, but that's about it.
Throughout the course of the Just Wanna Hoop series, were there any tournaments that you kind of look back on and say, that was our highlight of the whole series? Any games or tournament victories that stand out to you?
I say the tournament that I remember the most would probably be the second to last one before the Power Hands. All four of those teams gave us a run for our money. They was competitive and going down to the last, basically, buzzer.
Does that make being crowned grand champion even more satisfying to be able to look back and say, there wasn't just one, but there was a handful of really good teams that we had to overcome to reach that point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They mean they had the players and the coaches. We all had to do our part and win and come out as champions. So they made it. Every team that we played made us work for it, and they earned it.
Everybody, contributed, and everybody was a part of this success, Coach. Is there any of your players that you could talk about that maybe stood out throughout the course of the Just Wanna Hoop series for your team?
I have a couple players. My first player that we was going back and forth the whole series. We had our moments where I had to put him in check. His name was Bobby Burns, Jr. He really helped us out by changing his game, and once he changed his game, the team, everything just changed for us.
How impressive is that to see a young man be able to do things and acclimate, for the betterment of the unit and the team?
It's great because I try to teach my players to sacrifice, do what's best for the team, and once he bought into that and changed his game, we became more dominant, and we started to turn things around for everybody.
Anybody else that was a standout throughout this entire run of the Just Wanna Hoop series?
Yes, I have a couple of young guys. Rondé Hill, he's a good guard. He's really the youngest. He was 14 years old, and and I told him he'd be playing up, and he stood up to the challenge of guarding, the best player on the other team, and just being the floor general that he is. And I got one more player. His name is Devin. He came in at the end of the series, and he joined late with us when we was looking for some more players, and he kind of brought energy, a toughness, just all around player.
When you're going through the series like that and it's 8 weeks long, does your squad kind of develop a closeness, even maybe closer than they were before, as you're on that journey and you're on a quest to become that grand champion?
Yes, sir. Even after the games, when we go eat together, I see a couple players talking with somebody that they just met, or they kind of just they weren't talking to at the beginning. Once we started, now they talking to everybody, and everybody just gelled together at the hotel. They hanging out. Hey, coach, we finna go to the pool together, or eat breakfast together, things like that.
What are some of the things, Coach, that you and your team really enjoy about the primetime tournaments?
What we enjoy most is mainly the 4 games guaranteed. It's just basically a showcase. The teams, they always competitive. It's always hard. The hospitality that the primetime people at the front desk, or people who just going to take up the score sheets, they just so nice to us, and we just like it.
What primetime tournaments, Coach, are on the calendar for you and your team going forward?
Hopefully, we be ready to start back next Saturday at the I think it's the Hoops for Cure, for cancer awareness. We hope to start back then. And it's gonna be a lot of primetime tournaments we be in the future.
Do you feel like, being crowned grand champion, that any tournament you go to from now on, that you're going to get everybody's best shot knowing that you are the champs?
I feel like once you're the champion, somebody gonna try to come and dethrone you, and take your crown from you. And instead of being the hunter, now we're gonna be the hunted. Teams gonna come for us. They're gonna give us their best shot, and we just gotta be ready for it, because it's coming.
There's a chance for free uniforms, Coach, for the champion during the fall ball series. Is that something that your team is going to pursue as well?
Yes, exactly. Today, one of my parents, they text me about it, and they know we need some new uniforms. So the players kind of know. So we hopefully we can get in that series, and we can just continue our success.
Coach Johnson, congratulations again to you and your team. Thanks again for making the time for us, and best of luck this fall, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
We welcome our grand champion from the Houston 9th grade boys division, head coach Mike Snyder from PowerHouse Hoops, Caldwell. Coach, thanks for taking the time to join us, and congratulations on that grand champion title.
Hey, thank you. Anytime. Glad to have you.
Coach, first off, what does it mean to you and your team to be crowned grand champion?
Well, it brings great respect to our program. We've been at it 3 years now, interacting with the kids, providing this type of environment. We compete with the higher ups for its AAU level, the Team Foxes, the Houston Hoops. So it brings a great notoriety to our program. So we're very grateful for that. The boys work hard. Coaches, Coach Caldwell, Coach Sapp, director of the boys, Coach K, even the girls' coaches, Coach Destiny and Coach Rebecca. It was all a valiant effort, and we just believe in team unity, and like I said, we just put in the work.
Coach, also coming along with that grand champion is free primetime tournaments for an entire year. That's a pretty big deal, and a lot of opportunities to be able to showcase your team going forward.
Yes, it is. Primetime, we've been, involved for a long time. So, I'm glad Primetime did something like this. We're going to pretty much absolutely take advantage of the free tournaments. I don't know how often we'll play, since COVID and all, but we love what PrimeTime did for us, the free tournaments, and we're going to take every advantage that we can, to try to compete.
Coach, when this Just Wanna Hoop series was first announced, how was this kind of received amongst the teams and the coaches? Was there a lot of people out there that you talked to that were just very excited to go after this thing and the title of Grand Champion?
Yes, it brought a lot of great competition. A lot of the coaches and myself, we talk about different things. We all kind of, formed together in the Houston area. So we thought this would be a great opportunity to, showcase our talent and, go for it all as being grand champion. The competition, like I said, was great. You couldn't ask for nothing better. So every coach that participated in the event just went hard at it.
Is out of all the tournaments, Coach, is there any one that you kind of look back on and say that was a big launch pad for us or a big momentum builder that we kind of carried through all the way?
Well, as you know, for us, the grand champion, the Q points, we started. I think we were always, if I'm not mistaken, we were always ahead. But we had one team that kind of was our nemesis. They was right behind us, chasing us. So once we got kind of worried. We played them, oh man, like 3 or 4 times, kind of, back to back to back to back. So they beat us one time, and they gained closer in the Q point. So that was it was starting to get a little rivalry going. So the last 2 times that we played, we got them, and then we could kind of breathe easier, for us, hey, we pretty much got this. We looked at the standings every week. My son come, hey, look, Dad, this is where we at. We need to do this. We need to, he was more involved than I was. He kept on. He looks at your podcast all the time. So he'll bust in the room and, hey, Dad, look, look, look. So we pretty much knew what we had to do. Take out that one team, and it benefited and it went our way.
When you do have a rival like that and somebody who's kind of, staying on your heels the whole time and providing that good competition, how instrumental is that to the development of your program and kind of building up the mental toughness that's required in this game?
Well, you always, we stress that as a program. We want kids that's mentally strong, physically strong as well. But, when, you just have to strive, just strive. We're not all looking for the win, but, we want you to be strong-minded and, just complete your tasks and what you have to do. So that brought the competition closer, and the kids, adjusted and just focused on, what they needed to do to bring home the grand champion.
You talked about your son and these players kind of being aware and knowing what had to happen. Did they know going into the final weekend, the final tournament with Power Hands, about what they needed to do in order to secure the grand champion spot?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So they had already, pretty much the team. They had strategized, kind of what we needed to do. Like I said, my son, he comes in and talks to me every day. Hey, Dad, we need to win at least 2 games, to clinch the grand championship. So the kids were well aware of what's going on. They did a tremendous job, like I said before, but they was on top of it. They knew exactly what we needed to do, and they succeeded in doing that.
Let's talk about some of your players individually, Coach, and some of the things that they did throughout the course of the 8 weeks. Is there any memories or anything that stands out to you that some of these guys did?
Yeah, memories all the time. We got a lot of players that fulfilled their roles and things like that. One game in particular, I remember we was down by I think 6, if I'm not mistaken, to I think a JL3 team. We was down 6, about 28 seconds left. So one of our players, we started to foul, and kind of thought it was over with, and started to foul, like I said, and got a 3-pointer off. Okay, so we were down by 3, then stole the ball, got fouled again, and then we got a layup, so we were still down by 1, like maybe 9 seconds left. So we fouled, they missed a free throw. Once again, I'm thinking I'm ready to go shake hands and things like that. And one of our players just stole the ball and shot a three, and we ended up winning by two, and that was a tremendous
Wow.
feat for us. Jacked us up, and in the standings, and we couldn't ask for nothing better.
When you're able to win a game like that from behind when the odds are against you, does that kind of show the team that, going forward, hey, anything's possible until that final second ticks off, it's not over?
Right, and that also builds confidence within the kids, so they kind of buy in to what you're saying as coaches. Coach Caldwell, like I said, Coach Caldwell, puts out a tremendous game plan. But the kids, when things like that happen, they buy in and they believe. What you're saying. Hey, like you say, anything is possible, and we could compete at any level. So that's great for the kids, for us building confidence and just keeping that strong mind.
I can only imagine how many bumps and bruises start to pile up on your guys as the weeks go on, as we neared the end of that tournament. As that started to happen, were there any kind of injuries or things like that affected what roles that different guys had to step up and play, or minute allotment or anything like that?
Well, we've been very blessed. Out of the 8-week series, we didn't have any injuries. We didn't too many injuries. Half our kids play football, believe it or not.
Wow.
So that's the kind of thing that I was worried about. I even cut down practice because school just got back in. Um, they had football practice. Luckily, some of the kids, even my son, the fortunate thing about my son, he practices at 6 o'clock in the morning. So at 5:30, he has to be at school getting ready to practice. So he doesn't have to practice at the end of school. So that was a benefit to him. But I was more worried about football, practice or football games, getting an injury there more than basketball. But luckily we came out, A1, in tip top shape, and it showed in the standings.
Part of the grand champion, as we mentioned earlier, is not having any tournament fees for the next year. Have you already thought about, different things that you and your team and your program might be able to do with the extra funds, and how you'll be able to use that for the squad?
Well, me and my assistant director, that's my wife. So she kind of handles that, the budget and things like that. So we talked a little bit about it, but it just opens up, more, everything that you could do, more things that you could do for as the program. Coach Caldwell, we all sit down and have our weekly meetings and things like that. And I talk to these guys every day about planning, but for as the just nuts and bolts of it, we haven't really sat down and just figured out what we're gonna do. Like I said, it's a great opportunity, and the sky's the limit for what we could do for this upcoming year.
We talked about kind of one rivalry that your team built throughout the tournament, but I know that there was a lot of other teams that you saw more than once. When you're seeing some of the repeat teams week after week, do you kind of count on your players to build up a level of intel on their opponents and kind of know certain players' tendencies so they can, better execute the game plan?
Well, what is a great asset that I think you all implemented this year is and like I said, once again, I go back to my son, the baller TV. Um, if they want to know about a team, they click on the button. We even had during COVID, we mask up, try to keep distance, and we just scouted teams on Baller TV. We just put on the team that we want to see or scout, and then we just go from there. So that's been a great asset for us, scouting the teams, and teams that we're not sure of, or teams that hey, do they still have this particular player? So that was a great asset on letting us know what we need to do for us, preparing for a team.
Like you mentioned earlier, I know you and your team play in a lot of different tournaments and in different places. What is it about primetime tournaments that you and your team really enjoy?
Well, just the overall, the staff, you have the guys there that are keeping the scores, making sure things don't go awry. Sometimes the crowd, the fans could get rowdy or whatever, but they most likely, you know, they take control of, the atmosphere. They don't let it get too big. That's kind of one of the things that we like about prime time, just the organization, just the being organized. That's the main thing. You have anybody can run a tournament, so but PrimeTime, they do an exceptional job of keeping things in order, and that's what we love about PrimeTime.
That big question, Coach, after a championship, is your team looking to go and defend that title and also kind of come back for a free run at free uniforms in the fall ball series?
Yes, we are. Like I said, last week, I think we won it 2 weekends ago, as of Saturday. I gave him the week off, like I said, football. My son has a game tomorrow, football game. So hopefully, we'll do well at that. Excuse me. And we've been invited to a tournament this weekend, but as I told Carter, the next weekend, I think you all are taking off on the 17th. And then we'll be back again hard at it on the 24th.
Very good. Head coach Mike Snyder from PowerHouse Hoops Caldwell, our grand champion from Houston. Coach, again, congratulations to you, your players, and your entire organization on being the PrimeTime Sports Houston grand champion.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
PrimeTime wants to say thank you again to all teams who participated in our Just Wanna Hoop series. It was a complete success, and we're excited to announce the start of our fall ball series beginning this weekend. The series will consist of 5 tournaments in Houston and 5 tournaments in Dallas. Q points have officially started over. At the end of the fall ball series, we will award the top point earner of each division the Fall Ball Cup and medals to go along with it. We're also bringing back our Grand Championship title, but this time we have a new prize. The Grand Champion of each market will receive a set of 10 uniforms. You only have 5 opportunities to clinch the title of the Fall Ball Series Grand Champion, so take advantage. All registrations are open. Go to playprimetime.com/events to register now. And we'll see you next week on Inside Primetime.